Feeling overwhelmed lately? Like you're juggling a million things and dropping them all? I get it. We've all been there. It's that constant, nagging feeling of stress, like you're running a race with no finish line. But what if I told you the source of that stress isn't the number of tasks, but how we're approaching them? There's a powerful idea that says stress comes from trying to control everything. Think about it. We try to manage every tiny detail of our day, our work, our relationships, our future. We want every single thing to go perfectly. But life is unpredictable, and trying to control the uncontrollable is a recipe for burnout. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. This constant struggle to micromanage every aspect of our lives is what leaves us feeling drained, anxious, and perpetually stressed out. So, what's the alternative? Is it just to let go and let chaos reign? Not at all. The real solution is a shift in mindset. Instead of trying to control everything, we need to focus on gaining control over what truly matters. And how do we do that? Through the power of prioritization. Control comes from choosing your priorities. This is where the magic happens. When you consciously decide what is most important, you give yourself permission to let the less important things go, or at least to not give them the same amount of your precious energy. It's about moving from a reactive state, where you're constantly putting out fires, to a proactive one, where you're building the life you want, one intentional choice at a time. Imagine your energy is a spotlight. When you try to light up an entire stadium at once, the light is dim and ineffective. You can't see anything clearly. This is what happens when you treat everything as urgent and important. Your focus is scattered, your energy is diluted, and you end up making very little meaningful progress on anything. You're busy, but not productive. Now, imagine focusing that spotlight on one single area. The light is bright, clear, and powerful. You can see every detail. This is what happens when you prioritize. You're telling yourself, this one thing right now is my focus. And by doing that, you're able to pour your best energy, your sharpest thinking, and your most creative ideas into it. There's a saying, when everything matters, nothing does. This is the core of the problem. If your to-do list has 20 items, and you see them all as equally critical, you'll be paralyzed. You'll jump from one thing to another, never finishing anything, and the list will just keep growing, along with your stress levels. It's an endless cycle of overwhelm. The key is to choose wisely, to be ruthless, in a way, with what you allow to take up space in your mind and your day. So, how do we start? How do we go from a chaotic list to a clear set of priorities? First, get everything out of your head. Do a brain dump. Write down every single task, worry, idea, and obligation that's swirling around in your mind. Don't filter, don't organize. Just get it all down on paper or a digital document. It's incredibly therapeutic just to see it all in one place instead of having it bounce around inside your skull. Next, look at that list and ask yourself some hard questions for each item. Does this align with my long-term goals? Is this truly my responsibility? Or can it be delegated? What is the actual consequence if this doesn't get done today, or this week, or even at all? Be honest with yourself. We often hold on to tasks out of habit or a false sense of obligation. A great tool for this is the Eisenhower matrix. It divides your tasks into 4 quadrants: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. The urgent and important tasks are your crises, the things you need to do now. The important but not urgent tasks are where you should aim to spend most of your time. This is where real growth happens. Planning, learning, building relationships, exercising. These are the things that move your life forward. The urgent but not important tasks are the interruptions, the emails, the calls that demand your immediate attention but don't contribute to your goals. These are prime candidates for delegation or automation. And the last quadrant, neither urgent nor important. These are the time wasters. The mindless scrolling, the tasks you do just to feel busy. Eliminate these as much as possible. By categorizing your tasks this way, you're no longer looking at a terrifying flat list. You're looking at a strategic map for your day, your week, and your life. You are choosing your priorities. You are taking back control. This isn't about becoming a productivity robot. It's about creating space. When you handle your priorities, you create mental clarity. Your mind isn't cluttered with 100 nagging shoulds. You have the freedom to be present, to enjoy the moment, to think creatively, and to rest without guilt. This is what it means to be in control. Not controlling the world, but controlling your focus and your energy. It's a continuous process. Your priorities might change from day to day or season to season, and that's okay. The goal is to build the habit of consciously choosing. Start small. Each morning, before you check your phone, ask yourself, what are the 1 to 3 things that will make today a success? Define your priorities for the day. Write them down. And then, protect your time and energy to get them done. When you start living this way, you'll notice a profound shift. The constant hum of stress begins to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence. You'll feel less like a victim of your circumstances and more like the architect of your life. The chaos doesn't disappear, but your ability to navigate it improves dramatically. You know what your North Star is, so you're not thrown off course by every little wave. This is the path from stress to control. It's not about doing more. It's about doing more of what matters. It's a journey of self-awareness and intentional living. So I challenge you today. Take a look at your life. Where are you trying to control everything? And where can you start choosing your priorities instead? Choose wisely. You'll be amazed at the clarity and peace it brings. And as you begin this journey of redesigning your life and your daily routine, you might find you need some tools to help support that shift. Whether it's a new journal for that brain dump, noise-canceling headphones to help you focus, or anything else that helps create a better environment for yourself, we've curated a list of great finds on Amazon. You can check out the deals in our bio to find things that can support you on your path to a more controlled, less stressful life. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, give this video a like and consider subscribing for more content on living intentionally. Let me know in the comments what your #1 priority is this week. I'd love to hear about it. See you next time. Have you ever felt completely drained, even on a day when you didn't do much physically? That feeling like your internal battery is at 1%? It's a sign you're overspending your most valuable currency. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about your energy, your peace. There is a simple rule I started living by that completely changed my life. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. It's that simple, yet so powerful. Think about it. We spend so much time worrying about things we can't control, engaging in arguments that go nowhere, and holding on to grudges that only weigh us down. Each of these things is a transaction, and we're paying with our mental and emotional well-being. Let's break this down. Your energy is currency. Every single day, you wake up with a certain amount. You get to decide how to spend it. Are you going to invest it in things that bring you joy, growth, and fulfillment? Or are you going to let it get drained by negativity, drama, and pointless stress? When you start viewing your energy this way, you become a much more conscious spender. Suddenly, that heated political debate with a relative on social media doesn't seem worth the price. That compulsion to please everyone, even at your own expense, starts to feel like a bad investment. You realize that your peace of mind is the ultimate luxury good, and you should protect it fiercely. Life truly gets easier when you stop overpaying emotionally. Let's consider a common example: a toxic friendship. You have that one friend who always seems to bring drama. Every conversation is a complaint session. They're constantly critical, and you leave every interaction feeling exhausted and a little bit worse about yourself. For years, you might tell yourself, "But we have so much history," or "They need me." But if you apply our rule, you have to ask, what is this relationship costing me? Is the price a constant state of anxiety? A feeling of being undervalued? If the answer is yes, then the cost is too high. It's not about cutting people off coldly, but about creating healthy boundaries. It's about deciding that your inner tranquility is non-negotiable. This applies to our work lives as well. How many of us are in jobs that drain the life out of us? We trade our peace for a paycheck, telling ourselves it's a necessary sacrifice. But is it? Sometimes the stress of a high-pressure job spills into every other area of our lives. We're irritable with our families. We have no energy for our hobbies, and our health suffers. Again, we're overpaying. It might not be possible to quit your job tomorrow, but you can start making small changes. You can decide not to check work emails after 6 p.m. You can take your full lunch break instead of eating at your desk. You can stop volunteering for every extra project. These are small ways of saying, my peace is worth more. You're reclaiming your currency, one small decision at a time. Think about the information you consume. The 24/7 news cycle, the endless scrolling through social media feeds designed to make you feel inadequate or outraged. This is a huge drain on our collective peace. We're constantly bombarded with negativity and comparison. Applying the rule here means being intentional about your media diet. Maybe you unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Maybe you limit your news intake to just 15 minutes a day. Maybe you replace that mindless scrolling with reading a book or listening to a podcast that actually inspires you. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. You decide what you let in. Don't let your peace be stolen by algorithms and headlines. Let's talk about the past. So many of us spend our precious energy replaying old mistakes, holding on to regrets, and ruminating on what ifs. The past is a place you can learn from, but it's not a place you can live in. When you constantly dwell on what went wrong, you're paying for a ticket to a show that's already over. The cost is your present moment. It's the joy, the opportunity, and the peace that's right in front of you. Forgiving yourself and others is not about condoning what happened. It's about deciding you're no longer willing to pay the emotional price. It's the ultimate act of reclaiming your energy for the here and now. So, how do we put this into practice every day? It starts with a simple check-in. Before you commit to something, before you engage in a conversation, before you say yes to a request, pause and ask yourself, what is the potential cost to my peace? This simple question can be your guide. It can help you navigate difficult decisions and protect your energy. You'll start noticing the small leaks that drain your battery throughout the day. That coworker who loves to gossip, you can politely excuse yourself from the conversation. That invitation to a party you're dreading, it's okay to decline. You don't need a dramatic excuse. I'm not able to make it, but thank you for thinking of me is a complete sentence. Living by this rule isn't about avoiding all difficulty or conflict. Life will always have its challenges. It's about choosing your battles. It's about discerning what is truly worth your energy and what is just noise. Some things are worth fighting for. Your values, your loved ones, your dreams. These are wise investments of your energy. But the petty arguments, the need to be right, the worry over others' opinions, these are the emotional junk food that leaves you feeling empty. When you start differentiating between the two, your life becomes incredibly streamlined and focused. You have more energy for the things that truly matter. This mindset is the core of a simpler, more minimalist approach to life, not just with physical things, but with our mental and emotional space. It's about decluttering your mind, just as you would declutter your home. When your mind is cluttered with worries, obligations, and resentments, there's no room for creativity, joy, or presence. By letting go of the things that cost you your peace, you create space. Space to breathe, space to think, space to simply be. To help you on this journey of simplifying and organizing your life, I actually put together a list of some of my favorite finds on Amazon that have helped me create a more peaceful and orderly environment, both physically and mentally. Sometimes, having an organized external space can work wonders for your internal state. If you're interested, the link is down in the bio. They're just simple things, but they've made a big difference for me. Remember, your peace is a treasure. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. Protect it fiercely. The next time you feel that pull of drama or the weight of an obligation, I want you to hear this voice in your head asking, "Is this worth my peace?" More often than not, you'll find the answer is a resounding no. And in that no, you'll find a newfound freedom and a much richer life. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you reclaim your peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on living a simpler, more intentional life. See you in the next one. There's an old story that goes something like this. A man, bent and weary, trudged along a dusty road, a heavy sack slung over his shoulder. Every step was a struggle, every breath a sigh. He saw a wise old Stoic sitting calmly by the roadside, seemingly untroubled by the world. The man approached him, gesturing to his burden. "This weight," he groaned, "it's unbearable. It just keeps getting heavier and heavier. I don't know how much longer I can carry it." The Stoic looked at the man, then at the sack, and then back at the man with a steady gaze. He replied softly, "My friend, the load hasn't changed. Your resistance has." That simple sentence holds a universe of wisdom, doesn't it? It's a powerful reminder that so often, the external pressures of life, our jobs, our relationships, our responsibilities remain relatively constant. What truly changes, what makes a burden feel crushing one day and manageable the next, is our internal state, our capacity, our resilience. We all carry loads. We all have our sacks filled with worries, deadlines, expectations, and personal struggles. It's a fundamental part of the human experience. And our natural instinct is often to try and get rid of the weight. We think, if only this problem would go away, or if I could just offload this responsibility, I'd be happy. We dream of a life with no sack on our back at all. But the Stoics taught a different approach. They understood that a life without challenges is not only unrealistic, but also undesirable. A life without weight is a life without growth. A muscle that never lifts anything becomes weak and atrophies. Our minds, our spirits, are no different. Strength isn't found in avoiding the weight. It's found in building the capacity to carry it. Think about it like going to the gym. When you first start lifting, a 20-pound dumbbell might feel impossibly heavy. You struggle, you strain, your muscles burn. If you give up, that dumbbell will always feel heavy. But if you keep showing up, if you consistently challenge yourself, something remarkable happens. Weeks later, you pick up that same 20-pound dumbbell and it feels lighter. The dumbbell didn't change its weight. You changed, you got stronger. This is the essence of building mental and emotional resilience. It's not about willing our problems away. It is about systematically training our inner strength so that the problems we face no longer have the power to break us. So, how do we do that? How do we go from being the weary traveler to the strong carrier? It starts with perspective. The Stoics were masters of what's now called cognitive reframing. They practiced separating external events from their internal judgments about them. The event itself is neutral. Our reaction is what gives it power. A difficult conversation is just a conversation. A looming deadline is just a date on a calendar. It is our interpretation. This is going to be a disaster. Or, I'll never get this done. That adds the crushing emotional weight. A practical way to practice this is through a simple daily exercise. At the end of each day, think of one challenge you faced. Instead of focusing on how difficult it was, ask yourself, What did this challenge demand of me? Patience? Creativity? Courage? By reframing it this way, you turn a source of stress into a training opportunity. You start to see challenges not as obstacles, but as chances to practice and develop your virtues. The load becomes a tool for your own growth. Another key is focusing only on what you can control. The man in the story couldn't magically make his sack disappear, but he could control his posture. He could control his breathing. He could control his next step. He could choose to stop, rest, and then continue with renewed determination. We waste so much energy worrying about things completely outside our influence. What other people think, the global economy, the weather. The Stoic practice of the dichotomy of control is your best friend here. At any moment, ask yourself, is this within my control or outside of it? If it's outside your control, then expending emotional energy on it is like trying to push over a mountain. It's futile. Acknowledge it, accept it, and let it go. Redirect that precious energy toward what you can influence: your actions, your attitude, your responses. This simple act of sorting what is and isn't yours to manage instantly lightens the load. You stop carrying the weight of the entire world and focus only on your own small, manageable part. Building this kind of strength also requires consistent practice, just like physical training. It's about building small, daily habits that fortify your mind. Maybe it's 5 minutes of morning meditation to start the day with calm and intention. Maybe it's journaling at night to process your thoughts and reframe your challenges. Maybe it's practicing voluntary discomfort, taking a cold shower, or fasting for a short period to prove to yourself that you can endure hardship and come out stronger. These aren't grand, heroic gestures. They are small, consistent deposits into your bank of resilience. Each time you choose a measured response over a knee-jerk reaction, each time you face a small discomfort willingly, you are adding another rep to your mental workout. You are strengthening the muscle of your will. Over time, these small acts compound. Your capacity to handle stress grows. The weights that once felt crushing become manageable. You start to walk with a straighter back, not because your sack is any lighter, but because you are stronger. Remember the Stoics' words: the load hasn't changed. Your resistance has. This isn't a criticism. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to stop focusing on the weight and start focusing on the carrier. You are the variable that can change. You have the power to increase your capacity, to build your resilience, to transform your relationship with the inevitable challenges of life. The goal isn't to arrive at a destination where you can finally put the sack down forever. The goal is to become the person who can carry any load with grace, with strength, and with a calm spirit. To walk the road of life, not as a weary victim of your burdens, but as a powerful, resilient traveler who knows that every step, every ounce of weight is making you stronger than you were before. If you are looking to build these habits and find practical tools that can help you increase your own capacity day by day, I've curated a collection of resources that have personally helped me on this journey. They are designed to integrate these principles into your daily life, making resilience not just an idea, but a practice. You can find them by checking out the link in the description below. They're waiting for you. Thank you so much for watching and for spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more insights on building a stronger, more resilient mind. Take care.
Have you ever stared at a blank page, knowing you need to write that report, but instead, you find yourself deep cleaning the kitchen grout with a toothbrush? Or maybe you have a big project due and suddenly, organizing your sock drawer becomes the most urgent task in the world. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is the classic tale of procrastination, and I am here to tell you something that might change how you see it forever. Procrastination isn't a sign of laziness. It's not a character flaw or a time management problem. At its core, procrastination is an emotional regulation issue. It's about feelings, not productivity. Let's break this down. When we face a task that feels overwhelming, boring, or difficult, our brain perceives it as a threat. This triggers negative emotions like anxiety, self-doubt, fear of failure, or even fear of success. What if I can't do it perfectly? What if people judge my work? What if it's too hard and I get stuck? These feelings are uncomfortable, and our natural instinct is to avoid discomfort. So, we turn to something else, anything else that provides immediate relief. Watching one more episode, scrolling through social media, or tackling a simple, mindless chore. Instant gratification. The anxiety subsides, but only for a moment. This is what psychologists call an amygdala hijack. The emotional part of your brain takes over the logical part, seeking short-term relief over long-term gain. The problem is, the original task doesn't disappear. It just looms larger, now with an added layer of guilt and stress for not having started it sooner. This creates a vicious cycle. The task feels even more daunting, triggering more negative emotions, leading to more avoidance. So how do we break this cycle? The secret isn't to just do it or to find a better planner. The secret is to manage the emotions, not just the task. The first step is self-compassion. Forgive yourself for procrastinating. Beating yourself up only adds to the negative feelings and makes it harder to start. Recognize that you're not lazy. You're just trying to cope with difficult emotions. Acknowledging this is incredibly powerful. It shifts the problem from what's wrong with me to what am I feeling and why. Once you've acknowledged the feeling, you can start to address the root cause. Let's talk about the big one: fear of failure. This often stems from perfectionism. We believe that if we can't do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. This all-or-nothing thinking is paralyzing. The antidote? Redefine what done looks like. Aim for good enough instead of perfect. Give yourself permission to produce a messy first draft. Remember, you can't edit a blank page. The goal is just to get something down anything. Another common fear is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think of our work. To counter this, try to shift your focus from the external outcome to the internal process. Focus on the effort you're putting in and the learning you're gaining, rather than the potential criticism from others. Another key strategy is to make the task less intimidating. The sheer size of a project can be overwhelming. Write a 10,000-word thesis sounds impossible. But write the first paragraph of the introduction? That sounds manageable. This is the power of breaking things down into ridiculously small steps. Your only goal for today might be to open the document and write a single sentence. That's it. Celebrate that tiny win. This technique, sometimes called the 2-minute rule, builds momentum. Once you've started for just 2 minutes, it's often much easier to continue. You're tricking your brain into getting past that initial wall of resistance. The start is always the hardest part. Let's also consider the environment. If your workspace is filled with distractions, you're making it easy for your brain to seek that feel-good escape. Set up your environment for success. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary browser tabs. Create a dedicated space for work. This reduces the friction between you and the task. The easier it is to start, the less likely you are to feel that initial wave of dread. This is where having the right tools can make a huge difference. Think about anything that makes the process smoother. Whether it's a comfortable chair, a good keyboard, or noise-canceling headphones. Anything that reduces the barrier to entry is your friend in the fight against procrastination. Now, let's talk about a powerful psychological trick: temptation bundling. This involves pairing an activity you enjoy with a task you've been avoiding. For example, you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're doing the dishes. Or you can only watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill. This links the unpleasant task with an immediate reward, retraining your brain to associate it with something positive. You start to look forward to the task because it comes with a treat. What about when you feel completely unmotivated and just can't bring yourself to start? Try visualizing your future self. Imagine how relieved and proud you'll feel once the task is complete. Think about the stress that will be lifted from your shoulders. This future-oriented thinking can provide the motivational boost you need to push through the present discomfort. Conversely, you can also think about the cost of inaction. What will happen if you continue to put this off? Visualizing the negative consequences can also be a powerful motivator. It's also crucial to understand your own procrastination style. Are you an avoider who fears failure or judgment? Or are you a thrill seeker who gets a rush from finishing things at the last minute? Maybe you're an indecisive who get so bogged down in making the perfect choice that you never start at all. Understanding your personal pattern can help you choose the most effective strategies. For the thrill seeker, creating earlier, self-imposed deadlines with real stakes might work. For the indecisive, limiting your options and setting a timer to make a decision can be a game changer. Ultimately, remember that the most powerful cure for the fear that drives procrastination is action. Not thinking about the action, not planning the action, but taking the first, tiny, imperfect step. Motion creates emotion. Once you start moving, even in the smallest way, your perspective begins to shift. You prove to yourself that you can handle it. The task becomes less scary, and your confidence grows. Move first, then adjust your course later. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Motivation doesn't lead to action. Action leads to motivation. So, the next time you find yourself alphabetizing your spice rack instead of filing your taxes, take a moment. Pause. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I afraid of? Be kind to yourself. Break the task down into a laughably small first step, and then just take that step. Action cures fear. It's the most reliable way to break the cycle and reclaim your time and your peace of mind. To make starting even easier, it helps to have tools that reduce friction and make your tasks more enjoyable. I found some great items on Amazon that do just that, from focus aids to ergonomic gear. I've put together a list with some amazing deals for you. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into psychology and productivity. Let me know in the comments what task you've been procrastinating on and what small step you were going to take today. You've got this.
Let's talk about something that feels really good, but might be slowly killing your dreams. I'm talking about comfort. That warm, fuzzy feeling of safety, of knowing exactly what's going to happen next. It's like a cozy blanket on a cold day, right? We all crave it. Our brains are hardwired to seek safety and predictability. Sticking to what we know feels smart. It feels secure. And for a while, it is. But here's a brutal truth that took me a long time to accept. While comfort feels safe, it's actually one of the most dangerous places you can live. Why? Because it's the place where growth goes to die. Think about it. When was the last time you learned something truly new, or achieved something you were proud of while sitting comfortably in your routine? Probably never. Real growth, the kind that transforms you, that gets you closer to the life you actually want to live, happens in a very different place. It happens in the zone of discomfort. That feeling of being a little bit scared, a little uncertain, a little out of your depth. That's not a warning sign to retreat. That's a signal that you're on the right track. It's a sign that you're stretching your abilities, pushing your boundaries, and becoming more than you were yesterday. Everything you truly want in life, that dream job, that healthier body, that fulfilling relationship, that sense of confidence, it's all waiting for you on the other side of a wall of discomfort. The comfort zone is a cage, a beautifully decorated plush and cozy cage, but a cage nonetheless. And the longer you stay in it, the smaller it gets. The world outside starts to seem scarier and scarier, and your own abilities start to feel smaller and smaller. You start telling yourself stories. I'm just not the kind of person who can do that. It's too late for me to start now. What if I fail? These are just the bars of your comfortable cage talking, trying to keep you locked inside where it's safe. But safe isn't where life happens. Life happens when you take a risk, when you try something new, when you face a fear and walk right through it. Growth doesn't knock politely on the door and ask for permission. It's not a gentle suggestion. It demands action. It demands that you do the thing that scares you. It requires you to be a beginner again, to feel awkward, to make mistakes, and to get back up when you fall. It's about choosing the hard path today for an easier tomorrow, not the easy path today for a harder tomorrow. It was uncomfortable. It was scary. But on the other side of that discomfort was the freedom of gliding down the street. Wind in your hair. That's the metaphor for all growth. But once you take it, momentum starts to build. Each small step into discomfort rewires your brain. It teaches you that you can handle it. You survive. In fact, you do more than survive. You thrive. The fear gets a little smaller, and your confidence gets a little bigger. This isn't about making your life miserable or seeking out pain for no reason. It's about being intentional. It's about strategically choosing productive discomfort. It's choosing the 30 minutes of discomfort at the gym over the long-term discomfort of poor health. It's choosing the temporary discomfort of a difficult conversation over the long-term discomfort of a broken relationship. You have a choice every single day. You can choose comfort or you can choose progress. You can't have both. One keeps you stagnant, the other moves you forward. One feels good now and bad later. The other feels bad now and amazing later. So, today, I challenge you to do one thing that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Just one small thing. Order your coffee in a different language. Take a different route to work. Talk to a stranger. Do one more rep at the gym. Write one page of that book. Make that one call. Because on the other side of that feeling is the person you are meant to become. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe for more content on building a stronger mindset. I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt like your mind is a crowded, noisy city that never sleeps? You're lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, but your thoughts are racing, jumping from one worry to another, replaying conversations, and creating endless what-if scenarios. It's exhausting, isn't it? You might think, why can't I just switch it off? Why is my mind so loud? If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone, and I want you to know something important. Your mind isn't noisy by accident. Let's break down why this happens. Think of your mind like a smartphone. When it's new, it's fast, responsive, and has plenty of storage. But over time, what happens? We download countless apps, take thousands of photos, and leave hundreds of tabs open in our browser. We get notifications pinging us every few minutes. Eventually, the phone gets slow, it freezes, and the battery drains in no time. It's overloaded. Our minds work in a very similar way. Every single day, we are bombarded with an incredible amount of information. Social media feeds, news headlines, work emails, text messages, advertisements, and the endless stream of content online. It's a constant flood of input. Our brains are trying to process all of this, all at once. It's like trying to listen to 100 different songs playing at the same time and making sense of any single one of them. It's impossible. This constant overstimulation is what creates that feeling of mental noise and restlessness. Your mind isn't broken, it's just overloaded. On top of all this external noise, we have our own internal chatter. We worry about the future, we regret the past, we create to-do lists that are a mile long, and we put immense pressure on ourselves to be productive, successful, and happy all the time. This internal pressure adds another layer of noise, making it even harder to find a moment of peace. We get stuck in what's often called analysis paralysis, where we overthink every single decision to the point that we end up doing nothing at all. This cycle of overthinking and mental clutter doesn't just make us feel tired. It can seriously impact our well-being, leading to anxiety, stress, and even burnout. So, what's the solution? Many of us instinctively try to fix this by adding more things. We download another productivity app, read another self-help book, or start a new, complicated morning routine. We think that if we can just organize the chaos better, it will go away. But this is like trying to tidy up a hoarder's house by buying more storage boxes. You're not solving the root problem, you're just rearranging the clutter. The true path to mental quiet isn't about adding more. It's about removing what doesn't belong. Peace is found in subtraction, not addition. Think about it this way. A sculptor creates a beautiful statue, not by adding clay, but by chipping away the pieces of stone that aren't part of the final masterpiece. To find clarity and quiet in our own minds, we need to become sculptors of our own mental space. We need to start chipping away at the noise. So how do we do that? It starts with a simple but powerful concept: creating intentional silence. Our world has become allergic to silence. The moment we have a free second, waiting in line, or walking down the street, we pull out our phones. We fill every empty space with more input. The first step to a quieter mind is to consciously reclaim some of that silence. Try this. For just 5 minutes a day, put your phone away, turn off the TV, and just sit. You don't have to meditate in a specific way or try to empty your mind. Just sit and allow yourself to exist without any external input. Notice the sounds around you, the feeling of your breath. It might feel uncomfortable at first, because your brain is so used to the constant stimulation, but over time, these small pockets of silence will start to feel like an oasis. The next step is to curate your information diet. Just like you would curate your food diet, you wouldn't eat junk food for every meal, so why feed your mind a constant stream of mental junk? Be ruthless, unfollow social media accounts that make you feel anxious or inadequate. Unsubscribe from email newsletters you never read. Turn off non-essential notifications on your phone. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You have the power to decide what you let in. By consciously choosing to consume less and to consume higher quality, more positive information, you dramatically reduce the amount of noise your brain has to process. Another powerful technique is what I call a brain dump. This is incredibly simple. Before you go to bed, or whenever you feel overwhelmed, take a piece of paper and a pen. Write down everything that's on your mind. Every worry, every Toto item, every random thought. Don't censor it, don't try to organize it, just get it all out of your head and onto the paper. This act of externalizing your thoughts is incredibly freeing. It signals to your brain that these thoughts are captured and won't be forgotten, which allows your mind to let go and relax. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel afterward. Physical movement is also a non-negotiable for a quiet mind. When you're stuck in your head, overthinking in circles, the best thing you can do is get into your body. Go for a walk, do some stretching, dance around your living room, or do a workout. When you focus on the physical sensations of movement, you're pulling your attention away from the racing thoughts. Exercise also releases endorphins, which are natural mood lifters and stress reducers. It doesn't have to be an intense gym session. Even a 10-minute walk can work wonders to clear the mental cobwebs. Now, it's important to remember that the goal isn't to have a completely empty mind. That's not realistic or even desirable. Thoughts are a natural part of being human. The goal is to change your relationship with your thoughts. It's about learning to be the calm observer of your thoughts rather than being swept away by them. Imagine you're sitting on the bank of a river. The thoughts are like leaves floating by on the water. You can just watch them come and go without having to jump into the river and get carried away by the current. This is the essence of mindfulness. Building these habits takes time and consistency. It's a practice, not a perfect science. There will be days when your mind feels noisier than others, and that's okay. The key is to be gentle with yourself. Don't turn quieting your mind into another thing on your to-do list to stress about. Approach it with curiosity and compassion. Each small step you take to reduce the noise is a victory. Less noise means more clarity. More clarity means better decisions, more creativity, and a deeper sense of peace and well-being. So, let's recap the key takeaways. First, understand that your mind is noisy because it's overloaded, not because it's broken. Second, realize that peace is found by subtracting, not adding. You need to remove what doesn't matter. Start by creating small pockets of intentional silence in your day. Third, become the gatekeeper of your mind by curating your information diet and turning off unnecessary notifications. Fourth, practice a brain dump to get swirling thoughts out of your head and onto paper. And finally, get moving. Use physical activity to shift your focus from your head to your body. Your mental peace is one of the most valuable assets you have. It deserves to be protected. By implementing these simple strategies, you can begin to turn down the volume on the mental noise and turn up the volume on your own inner wisdom and calm. You can transform your mind from a noisy, chaotic city into a peaceful, serene garden. To help you get started on this journey, I've done some research and found some simple tools that can really help calm the mind and create a more peaceful environment. Things like weighted blankets, aromatherapy, diffusers, and guided meditation journals can be fantastic aids. I've put together a list of some of my favorites on Amazon, and many of them are on sale right now. If you're interested, you can find the link in the bio or description below. These aren't magic fixes, but they can be wonderful supports as you build these new habits. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on living a more intentional and peaceful life. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing you're going to do this week to create a little more quiet in your life? Sharing your commitment can be a powerful first step. Remember, less noise, more clarity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Did you know that most of your life is run by an invisible force? I'm not talking about fate or destiny. I'm talking about habits. Habits you probably never even consciously chose. Think about it. How you wake up in the morning. Is it a calm, intentional start? Or a frantic rush to silence the alarm and scroll through your phone? How you react when something goes wrong? Do you take a deep breath and find a solution, or do you immediately get stressed and frustrated? And what about how you spend your free time? Is it spent learning a new skill, connecting with loved ones? Or does it just seem to vanish into an endless stream of social media and cat videos? These are all habits. They are automatic scripts that your brain runs to save energy. Most of them were formed unconsciously, picked up from your environment, your upbringing, or your past experiences. They're the default settings of your life. And if you've never taken the time to examine them, you're essentially living on autopilot, letting these unchosen habits steer your life in a direction you may not want to go. The thing is, your brain loves habits. It doesn't care if a habit is good or bad for you. It just cares about efficiency. So whether it's hitting the gym every morning or hitting the snooze button 5 times, the neurological process is the same. The habit loop, cue, routine, reward gets reinforced over and over again until it becomes second nature. This might sound a little scary, like you're not in control. But here's the good news. The moment you become aware of these habits, you reclaim your power. Awareness is the first and most crucial step to upgrading your life. You simply can't change what you don't see. It's like trying to navigate a maze with a blindfold on. Once you take the blindfold off, once you start to see the patterns, the triggers, and the routines that govern your day, you can start to make intentional changes. So, how do you build this awareness? It starts with a simple practice: observation without judgment. For the next week, I want you to become a detective in your own life. Get a notebook or use an app on your phone and just start noticing. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? What triggers you to check your phone? Is it boredom? Loneliness? A notification sound? What do you do when you feel stressed? Do you reach for a snack, go for a walk, or vent to a friend? Write it all down. Don't try to change anything just yet. The goal here is pure observation. You're gathering data on yourself. This process alone is incredibly powerful. You'll start to see the invisible strings that pull you through your day. You'll identify the cues that trigger your automatic behaviors. Once you have this data, you can start making small, strategic changes. This is where so many people go wrong. They try to overhaul their entire life overnight. They decide they're going to wake up at 5 a.m., meditate for an hour, run 10 miles, and eat nothing but kale. And by day 3, they're exhausted and back to their old ways. The secret isn't massive, drastic change. It's about small, incremental adjustments. Atomic habits, as James Clear calls them, tiny changes that, when compounded over time, lead to massive, life-altering impact. Let us say you've then noticed that your cue for wasting an hour on social media is feeling bored in the evening. The routine is opening the app and scrolling. The reward is a temporary distraction from that boredom. Now that you see the loop, you can intervene. You don't have to delete all your social media. Instead, try changing the routine. When you feel that cue of boredom, what's a different, more positive routine you can substitute? Maybe it's reading one chapter of a book, or doing a 10-minute stretching routine, or calling a friend to catch up. The key is to make the new habit as easy and attractive as possible. Leave the book on your pillow. Put your yoga mat where you can see it. Make the positive choice the path of least resistance. Let's take another common example: hitting the snooze button. The cue is the alarm. The routine is hitting snooze. The reward is a few more minutes of cozy sleep. To break this, you can make the old habit harder and the new one easier. Put your alarm clock across the room, so you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off. That's making the old habit of snoozing more difficult. Now, what's a new rewarding routine you can attach to getting up? Maybe your reward is the smell and taste of a freshly brewed cup of coffee. Prepare it the night before, so all you have to do is press a button. Your new loop becomes: alarm goes off, you get up to turn it off, and you immediately get the reward of a delicious coffee. Small change, massive impact on your morning. This principle applies to everything. Want to eat healthier? Don't ban all your favorite foods. Just try adding one vegetable to your dinner each night. Want to exercise more? Don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to a 5-minute walk after lunch. These changes are so small they seem insignificant. But that's their superpower. They're too small to fail. And as you consistently perform these tiny new habits, 2 things happen. First, you build momentum. That 5-minute walk starts to feel good. So maybe next week you make it 10 minutes. Second, you start to change your identity. You're no longer someone who doesn't exercise. You're someone who walks every day. You're not someone with no willpower. You are a person who makes conscious, healthy choices. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity reinforces your habits. It's a beautiful feedback loop that you create one small decision at a time. The person you are today is the sum of the habits you've repeated for years. The person you will be in 5 years will be the sum of the habits you choose to build starting right now. So start by observe your patterns. Identify one small thing you want to change. Just one. And find a tiny, almost laughably simple new action to take. Make it easy, make it obvious, make it satisfying. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking back the controls and consciously designing a life that aligns with your goals and values, instead of letting your unchosen habits run the show. You have the power to do this. It begins with awareness, and it's built through small, consistent changes. If you're looking for some practical tools to help you on this journey, things like habit trackers, journals, or books that go deeper into this psychology, they curated a list of my favorite products that have personally helped me build better habits. You can find them in the Amazon deals waiting for you in the link in our bio. They can provide that extra bit of structure and motivation as you start making these powerful changes. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on psychology and self-improvement. Let me know in the comments below, what's one habit you've become aware of recently? I'd love to hear about it. See you in the next video.